We're here with Mark Mosher. Thanks so much for being here.
Glad to be here.
So you've been involved with Bay Area politics for over 20 years now. And this story seems to be inequality, sort of affordable housing. And it's not just San Francisco, right? I mean, housing prices in Oakland and Berkeley are sky high too. Is this just part of a regular cycle, or is this different somehow in your estimation from what you've seen in the past politically in the Bay Area?
Well, we went through a situation like this in 99, 2000, where you saw housing prices skyrocket. You saw tens of thousands of additional people move into the city, and it wound up affecting the politics. In the 99 mayor's race, when Willie Brown was up for re-election, those issues became, very much the themes that defined the race. And while the mayor won re-election at that point, in the following year, in the 2000 supervisors race, all but 2 supervisors were turned out when we switched to district elections because of anger over displacement and a feeling that people who were longtime San Franciscans really were being shoved out by by a tech wave. And some people are asking, is that happening again? There are some similarities, but there are some major differences.
Like what?
This time around, I think a lot of people would say that it's a more durable type of boom. That I can remember a period of time when some of my friends
hope so.
Well, some of my friends couldn't tell you, what it was their companies made or did.
Right.
And this time around, I think there's a sense that more experienced managers are in control, that adults are running things, and that this boom may be here to stay.
And what about politically? You said earlier there was some backlash against Mayor Brown that ultimately resulted in a change at the Board of Supervisors. Right now we've got Mayor Ed Lee, who doesn't have any opposition so far in his run for re-election this year. And there doesn't seem to be a coordinated group of folks pushing to get candidates in at the Board of Supervisors as well. What do you think is behind that sort of the lack of cohesion right now?
There are some major differences in the city now between where we are at this point and where we were in the 2000 supervisors race. Number one, we've all heard a lot about really kind of the rise of the Chinese voter. There are twice as many Chinese Americans voting in elections now in a mayor's race than there were 20 years ago.
Really?
So that's one important thing to consider. Another one is that some of the more progressive renters, some working folks, people who sometimes formed the backbone of these progressive campaigns, a lot of these folks have moved out of the city,
right,
either willingly or because they were displaced. So you've got also a huge amount of ownership housing. So more condos, more expensive homes that have a different type of voter living in them than you used to have. And then finally, I think you've got a group of people inside the administration who have some institutional memory. I think they remember what happened last time, and they're looking to avoid some of those problems. The mayor's chief of staff was the chief of staff when Willie Brown was mayor. It's a smart group of people, and I think they're trying to do things to avoid the type of political problems that they saw in 2000.
Now, you did not run Mark Leno's potential run for mayor. So State Senator Mark Leno thought about running and perhaps had some conversations about maybe challenging Ed Lee, but ultimately that didn't happen. Can you talk about why?
Have been friends with Senator Leno for a long time, worked on a number of his races. I think he would actually make a great mayor. I don't think it's the right time. I think.
Do you see any progressive challenging Mayor Lee? In terms of the names that maybe you're hearing of people who, somebody has to run against him, one would think.
The most popular and successful elected officials right now have really kind of opted out. Tom Amiano said he's not interested. Senator Leno said he's not interested. At this point, I don't know if there is a sort of progressive hope in the mayor's race.
What about Board of Supervisors races, to the extent you're aware?
Yeah. again, you're not seeing a coalescing against. I mean, this is different than it was in 2000. In 2000, I think the voters saw these supervisors as really proxies for Willie Brown, and as a result, they took it. You know, they took out their frustrations with what was going on in the city at the time on supervisors. I don't know if you really have that type of connection. Ed Lee didn't appoint many of these supervisors; they were elected on their own.
Excellent. Well, thank you again for being here. I really appreciate it. For Bay Sunday, I'm Melissa Griffin Caen.